from Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Three. And here's your host, Laura Harris-Smith.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Harris-Smith and welcome to The Three. So glad that you're joining us today. You know, Christian Television Network has a real place in my heart. I'm sure it has a place in your heart as well. You probably have a line of testimonies like I do of times when you tuned in and something really blessed you. Aren't we all thankful for Christian television? And so today I have a special guest here. You may remember Bob and Molly DeAndre. Of course, he was the president and founder of Christian Television Network, and he passed in January of 2022. Of course, his wife Molly went to be with the Lord in 2004. But the legacy of the DeAndres goes on, and at CTN, and now his daughter Yolanda DeAndre Morris is the new president, and we have found a few minutes to sit down with her today. I can't wait for some of you already know her, but I'm going to ask her the questions that you want to know. So, Yolanda, welcome to The Three.
Thank you.
So glad that you're here. You have a bio. I could scroll and scroll and scroll. We're going to get to that, but something that really fascinated me was that this all started when you were 9 years old. Mm-hmm. I heard you tell a story one time where your parents would want you on the set. They'd be doing a telethon or whatever, and they didn't come get you from school. They sent the producer to come get you from school, and they just knew, oh, that's that family. They got to go be on television. And that happened a lot in our family. My kids were on sets and stuff, and so what was that like? Your dad was Bob DeAndre. How did you do that?
Yeah, and you know, my personality is I'm shy. As I've grown older, I understand engaging with people, and so I don't have a problem with that. But as a kid, I really did.
Really?
We would go to restaurants, and even when we went to other countries, people would come up to us and be like, oh, you're Bob and Molly DeAndre. And I watched my parents do that very well, connect with people and minister to people. So, you know, I caught on to that as I got older. But it was hard for me because we never sat down as a family without somebody coming up to us.
All right, so you're 9 years old. Your dad and mom are Bob and Molly, and you're in that environment all the time. Was there at any point when you said, I want to be in television when I grow up?
No.
And now you're on this, I know the side of the camera you're on, but I'm just saying you never ever wanted that.
I didn't. I always felt like I would marry a pastor.
Right.
Which I did. So I knew ministry was going to be part of my path, but television really wasn't. And maybe it was just because I was so used to it that it was like, if I did do something, it's okay, but I didn't pursue anything in that. I really knew that I wanted to go into teaching. So I have an elementary education degree, and I taught school for 22 years. And then when I got married, I married somebody who was going to be a pastor. We were young.
Didn't you, I heard something about, you knew you wanted to marry a man that was in ministry or that was going to be a pastor or something, and somebody in your high school yearbook wrote, I hope you find your husband, or something like that. What was that about? Like you were very vocal about this. I want to marry somebody in ministry.
I was very vocal about that. In fact, it wasn't just one person that wrote in my yearbook. There was a bunch of people that wrote that because I knew that I would marry a pastor. God had put that in my heart.
Wow.
And so that's who I dated when I went to college. I didn't date in high school.
You're like, are you a pastor? Okay, no, sorry, you're out.
I was, just keeping looking at that. And so that was something that God had buried in my heart, and I knew that would come to pass.
Brian is, because for the longest time you guys were out west, Rocky Mountain TV. Tell me about that era.
So I will say, what is really interesting about how God brought us together is he's from Montana. He was not from a ministry family, and for God to do that with who we are as a ministry family, and he fit right in and did really well with that, and does really well with TV. But that was amazing. And I still stand amazed at that because his family was from such a different environment than we were, you know, growing up. But our first pastoring was in Wyoming. We were youth pastors at a little church.
Right, I heard about that. Okay.
And we had about 35 kids in our youth group. We were the only youth pastors in town for a while. And then we went to Washington State and were junior high pastors there and had 300 to 500 kids in our youth group. And then when we were done there, we went to Florida and we were the senior associate pastors for a church.
Tell me about the orphanage, because you have a history. You grew up with this as well. Your mom had she had a love for orphans and widows. So after the break, I want us to just talk really about that. It's really her legacy, isn't it? I mean, and I'm so thankful that you're still doing that today. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Hi, I'm Laura Harris-Smith, inventor of Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend. You know, if you would have told me 2 years ago when I was mixing that very first little bottle that we would have thousands of customers from all over the world and that we'd have to quadruple our staff to keep up with the demand produced by our international TV infomercial, I'm not sure I would have believed you. And if you told me I'd be hearing regular testimonies of improved sleep, reduced stress, migraine relief, even help with other neurological challenges like seizures, PTSD, tremors, muscle spasms, even anxiety, well, I probably would have cried. And sometimes, when I'm reading a Quiet Brain testimony, I do. But if you would have told me 1 year ago when we introduced our Quiet Brain Variety Gift Box that it would become the biggest selling item on our online store at quietbrainoil.com, I would have said, I believe it. The reason is because I created the gift box to be the perfect combination of all of our Quiet Brain products. The oil itself for topical use on the skin that contains only certified pure oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier and bring speedy relief and neurological support. And our aromatherapy line with our Quiet Brain shampoo and conditioner, candles, inhalers, all of which use the nasal passages to gain direct access to the limbic brain, which is the emotional center of the brain. So whether you need to use Quiet Brain topically or aromatherapeutically, the Quiet Brain gift box has everything that you need. And now we've given our gift box an upgrade without increasing the price. It now comes with our satin Quiet Brain Sleep Eye Mask. Just put a few drops of oil on the nose guard and you're on your way to enjoying a good night's sleep. And it all comes packaged in a beautiful gift box and delivered to the destination of your choice or sent to you so you can use it for 7 different gifts or keep a few for yourself. When sold separately, the items in the box are $160, but you're getting it for $135. That's a $25 savings, meaning that you're getting the nasal inhaler and the shampoo and conditioner for free. The Quiet Brain gift box comes with 1 Whisper Quiet Nightlight diffuser with 16 color options and intermittent mist options, 1 dropper bottle of Quiet Brain, 1 Quiet Brain nasal inhaler, 1 Quiet Brain candle, the satin sleep eye mask, and your healing shampoo and conditioner. And remember, both are color safe, aloe enriched, paraben and sulfate free, loaded with wonderful ingredients like unscented coconut oil, olive oil, sugar beet betaine, and of course the Quiet Brain blend with its 8 essential oils like lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more. We get repeated testimonies of both being used with great effectiveness during headaches for pain relief. So go to quietbrainoil.com to order. Quiet Brain is a great gift for any time of the year, but especially for seasons like these that bring additional stress. Give the gift of health and peace this year. Give the gift of Quiet Brain. Hi everybody, I'm Laura. You're watching The3. So glad that you can be a part of the conversation that we're having today with Yolanda Morris. She is the president of CTN, and she has quite a history. You got a broadcasting history and all that, but where I want to go first is we were talking about children, your children, and her mom started an orphanage in Nepal. How many years ago?
So in 2003.
Okay, so the orphanage is almost 20 years old.
It is, yeah.
This happened right before she died then.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you and I both share a love for, we were just discussing before the show, for James 1:27. Yeah. Pure and undefiled religion is this, that you take care of orphans and widows in their time of need. Tell us what your mom used to do with the widows. It's so beautiful.
So she adopted that verse. Wow. And she used to take widows to get their hair done. They'd go on vacation with us. And so that was super important.
Wow.
I mean, it was just always part of our life. And so when the Lord told her that she would start an orphanage somewhere, probably back in the late 90s, she didn't know what that looked like or where that would be. And we had a friend that was the overseer for Church of God in India and Asia. Wow. And he came and talked to my parents and just said, we have kids that need a home. And she's like, well, where is it?
Was this the Nepal connection?
Yeah, in Kathmandu, Nepal. Wow. And our manager has been with us. He had just graduated from Bible college, and he's been with us the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
And that was 2003. We went over. We had 7 kids, and I went with my mom, and then she passed away a year later.
Goodness,
yeah,
that's
so it was very
amazing.
Interesting. Like, okay, God. And my husband had a physical condition where he had to step out of ministry in 2004, the same year that my mom passed away. And it took him 5 years to get over what was going on in his body. And so CTN watched over that orphanage. And then in 2008, when my husband kind of stabilized, I said, hey, Dad, can I oversee this? And he's like, sure. So I've been doing that ever since.
So a lot of what was happening there, although you probably didn't call it this at the time, you were rescuing children out of probably what was human trafficking.
Yeah, and that was
sex
part
trafficking.
of, yeah,
I mean,
that's what the Lord showed my mom that it would be part of, and we do have some stories. There's amazing stories of what our kids have walked out of, and
tell me a
like
couple,
that.
because I want to make it possible for people to give to this. So tell us.
So there was one young boy that had a scar on his, it wasn't actually a scar at that time, it was a pretty big slit in his face. And his story is that his dad was part of one of the kind of militia groups and cut his face, and he was rescued out of that situation and came to us.
Oh my gosh.
He is a straight A student. He has gotten A's in college. Like, he is super smart, and God has really great things for him. He's a sweet young man now because we've had this orphanage for so long.
Right.
Another one, this happened about 5 years ago. She was in another orphanage and was being trafficked, and we rescued her out of that. She was 13, I think. And we rescued her out of that situation, got some counseling and some healing for her before we put her into the home.
Yes, social reentry skills.
Yeah.
I mean, she had any schooling?
She had some schooling, yeah. Okay. And she healed beautifully and has a wonderful smile and is very engaging, and God did a big work in her.
So now you have 22?
We have 22 now, yeah. We've had 35 total go through, and we college educate them or give them a trade education. Most of them have been through college. The beautiful thing about Kathmandu is you can get a 4-year degree for about $5,000 to $6,000. So it's not a huge expense.
Oh my goodness. Okay, tell people how they can give to this.
So if you go on ctnonline.com, there is a place that says Nepal, and it tells all the different kind of steps that you can give. Yeah. Okay.
ctnonline.com. My viewers know that now very, very well. All right. You also have a men's program. Well, you executive producer.
I do. Yes.
So your husband is the host.
He is.
Tell us about it. Man 360.
Man 360.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
So it is we are filming its 3rd season. So seasons 1 and 2 are online. They've already aired and are in reruns and everything. So man360.tv is where you can go and see the past episodes. But we wanted something different. So if you look at Christian television, there's a lot of women's programs.
Yes.
And a lot of people say to me, do you want to do a woman 360? And I'm like, no, it's all over. But there really isn't something that's for men. And so that was really on our hearts a few years ago. And my husband is amazing. He is a wonderful person who takes care of me. He mentors other men. He's mentored men to be pastors, and so he has a lot of amazing qualities, and he's super fun to be around and engaging. And so I'm like, I have a lot of women friends who are not married, can't find men. I'm like, can we just train men how to be really wonderful?
Oh my goodness, we had a whole show on this, or part of a segment on this last night about the whole toxic masculinity, male toxicity, all of that. I'm just laughing at Jehovah Sneaky and how your husband marries into this uber Christian family, and the next thing you know, okay, he's a pastor, and then he's on television, in television, he's running a television station, he's married to the president of the
So the path is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we just don't know where the Lord's going to take us. All you knew is you were in love.
Yeah.
I love that. No, that's so beautiful. Yeah. Okay, after the break, I really just want to talk about your dad. I want to talk about him. We've got some beautiful footage of him that your husband actually put together, and he was an amazing man. He was so meek. He had a heart for Jesus. And your mom, I never knew all of that about your mom, but it makes sense, and it even gives me insight into how you are the way you are. Took widows on vacation. You know, you just, as you went along, they put these traits into you. So I want, when we come back, for you to tell us a little bit about the man. Can you do that? All right, don't go anywhere, anybody. We'll be right back.
Neuromatics Oil is a family of therapeutic-grade patented oil blends created by nutritionist and author Laura Harris Smith. Invented for her own lifelong journey for neurological health, Quiet Brain now helps those worldwide who suffer from insomnia, migraines, anxiety, seizures, tremors, and more. Quiet Brain contains oils like frankincense, myrrh, lavender, sandalwood, and others. Next, Happy Brain is a bright mood-lifting citrus blend and contains oils like lemon, lime, clementine, spearmint, and more. Users say it combats depression and even aids in weight loss. Next is Sharp Brain, Laura's Focus Blend, also used to improve cognitive memory issues with oils like coffee, cinnamon, vanilla, clove, and others. Each $69.95 bottle is a 10-week supply if used daily, or about $1 a day. And right now, buy 2 bottles and get the third one free, and get a free eye mask using the promo code on your screen at neuromaticsoil.com or at 1-855-784-3827. That's 1-855-QUIET-BRAIN.
I'm naturopathic Dr. Laura Harris Smith, and if you'll give me 10 days, Give It to God and Go to Bed can help you stress less, sleep better, and dream more. There are even links inside to my free 10 Days to Deeper Sleep and Dreams program and 10 Goodnight videos. Can you close your eyes and just still listen to me? The whole book takes place in your bedroom, and with chapter titles like The Junk Under Your Bed, The Treasures in Your Bedroom, and The Monsters in Your Closet. Give It to God and Go to Bed helps you learn to rest and hear God speak in dreams. Take back your sleep and dreams, my friend, with Give It to God and Go to Bed. Hi everybody, welcome back to The3. I'm Laura Harris Smith. I've got my tissue because I keep crying. We're talking about the theTHREE family, and we're here with Yolanda Morris. You are the president of CTN, but you know, more importantly, and I know you agree, you're the daughter of Bob DeAndre. So we've talked a little bit about what that's like. We've talked about your mom, Molly. We've talked about your kids in Nepal. We've talked about all of that and where you've been in the pastoral journey, and here you are, you know, in Florida. But let's talk about your dad. Would you just tell us about him? Things that you might know that we don't.
You know, he was a very meek, of course, you saw that when he was on TV and all of that. And he was an introvert himself, so being out in public wasn't something that he craved or wanted to do. When God showed him to do television, he was already an electrical contractor. It kind of moved in that vein where he understood how things worked electrically and kind of in that world. But when God showed him to do that, he was like, okay, I'll do whatever you ask me to do, you know. And he did climb several towers and hook them up when he first started buying stations and doing that himself because he understood how to do that. But he and my mom just followed the Lord and said yes to the things that God asked them to do. So before they went into television, they were missionaries to other countries. They started churches. So ministry was already in their heart and their mind. So it was just another outlet of how God wanted them to do ministry.
So take us back to the beginning, though, his childhood. Like, where's he from, and what did he come from? What were his parents like? You know what I mean? Like,
it's very
how did this man become this man?
It's very interesting because he didn't have that Christian background. We do know that his grandparents, which is very interesting. We actually learned this a few weeks ago when we were planning his funeral. His either great-grandmother or great-grandfather, I'm not sure, it was actually great-great to him, had started churches in Italy. And we did not know this.
Oh my goodness. It's
So,
a generational blessing. It just skipped
yes,
a couple of generations
it did.
and found
It really
him.
did. And so there's
so
a church
beautiful.
in Italy that's still going because of that. But his family came over on the boat. So my great-grandparents came over on the boat. And then my grandfather, they were farmers in New Jersey. So my dad grew up on a farm in New Jersey until he was about 13. And then they moved to Florida. So there wasn't that great, instilling of the Bible and all of that stuff.
Right.
It was just his call. God knew what his call was.
How did he become a Christian?
I really don't know that.
You're kidding.
I really,
And he probably is, being the introvert he was, didn't get on television and
no,
tell that part.
I really don't know that story, but it was young.
So it was young because he wasn't very old when he started doing this. I mean, they were missionaries, I'm saying, and then
he went to Bible school. And so kind of got that establishment there. But he was a very intelligent man for business and all of that. Never had a business degree, but started his electrical company and did all that. And really God used that because my dad never took a paycheck in 42 years with CTN.
At CTN, he never took a paycheck.
Never took a paycheck. No.
I just love him more. Every story I hear about him.
Yeah, he was
my
just a
goodness.
businessman, and he's like, I don't need that money. That's God's money to do that. And God blessed him. He owned apartment buildings and all kinds of different businesses and things. So, that's the path that he took of just saying yes to the Lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think is the greatest challenge today in Christian television?
I think being relevant, for the culture. I think Christian television is a big ship to turn to start reaching multiple generations.
Right.
And that really is the heart of my husband, myself, and my brother. God, what are you asking? And it's not just television media distribution is what we're looking at, podcasting and all of those different kinds of things.
Genres.
We're getting ready to step into a nationwide movie thing that we've got going, which is super exciting. So it's that opening the doors for media that have been kind of stuck in Christian television, where God's like, look, I've created all of this.
Right.
Step into, you don't need to look to what the world does in media to create something.
Right.
I did this.
Yes.
Go with what I tell you to do.
Well, I'll ask you this question then too. I know how you're going to answer it. I think I already do. But what's the difference in Bob and Molly's CTN and Yolanda's CTN?
Yeah, there's the only thing is expanding those generations, how we reach. But other than that, the foundation of reaching souls is the same. Souls is it. It's the key. We have a big partnership with Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne and reaching souls, and he's just such a good friend of our family.
I could tell it at the memorial service, like he just did such a great job. I thought, to have Rodney Howard-Browne do your memorial.
And my dad and him were just like brothers. They were so close. And so that is super important for what we do and how we move forward. Every story we tell, everything we film is about reaching souls, either reaching people who don't know Jesus at all, or bringing people one step closer in their walk with the Lord.
So do you ever have that moment when you walk into a meeting or anything when you say, what would Dad do? Or is it more so, this isn't Dad's anymore, this is God's through me to a new generation? How does that go?
I think there's both, because I want to take some of those things that my dad did really well with listening, not talking too much, absorbing what he was being told, and he was wonderful.
Yes, he was.
And then taking that, all that he was in that quietness of who he was and letting God guide him. I want to do that.
Right.
And then because we've been in ministry for so long ourselves, we see the need and we want to reach those needs. So I think it's both. We always keep a listening ear to what God is saying. And then my question always is, okay, Holy Spirit, how do I execute that?
That's amazing.
You know, so I'm a process person.
Yes.
So he just kind of goes down.
I
I'm like,
love
I
it.
got it,
Yeah,
okay. And so
okay.
that's really the fun part of it, is you get those ideas and then he shows you how to do it.
And this is much more than just 23 affiliates. I mean,
Yeah.
you're on Dish
Yeah.
Network, you're on DirecTV.
Yeah, across
Tell
the
us about the
country.
THREE satellite, because that takes you everywhere.
It really does. It takes you everywhere. So, and we get feedback from that. So it's all over Central and South America.
Yeah.
If you have a satellite dish anywhere in the world, you can get us. And it's kind of like 400 million people,
Yeah.
you know, where
I hear from people all over.
Yeah.
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 The THREE.
Yeah. It's amazing what God has allowed to develop to get his message across.
Yeah.
And then you see how much Satan tries to stop it
Absolutely.
with everything that he does. And you can understand why he doesn't like that message to go freely, you know.
I'm really excited. This rarely happens to me while I'm sitting with a guest, especially when the clock is ticking and the Lord knows we have a deadline, but I have a word for you. I really believe that the Lord is saying you're going to stand on the shoulders of your Father and go to places that even he didn't go. I don't know where that is since you have the THREE satellite, but that you're going to go into places. It probably is the movie. Then you're going into genres maybe that he never went, and that he is, as you know, part of your great cloud of witnesses. And he's just so proud of you. And I am eager to see in the next generation what people will be saying about this network. I mean, I really am, because I believe that the Lord is on you, and the mantle that was on your father is now on you and your mother. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They had individuals, but I see them both on you.
You know, a few days before my dad passed away, and we were not expecting him to pass away. He was not in a death state at all. It was a very interesting, and I will probably cry on this one. It was about 4 days before. I felt the mantle come on.
Did you really?
I did. It was a physical response.
That's the word I heard.
And
I
I
just
was
saw
like,
it like
oh
coming on.
Lord, this is very strange, because we weren't expecting him to die.
Oh my goodness.
And I told my husband, I said, something happened today, something shifted. And I felt that physically come on me.
That is incredible. It's like Joel Osteen, who was behind the camera at Lakewood, did not want to be on stage. His father kept trying to get him to preach. John dies, Pastor John dies, and then he leaves Joel a box with some shoes in it.
And I believe
and he preached his first sermon, and now look, you know.
And I believe that was the transition that my dad said, okay, I'm ready. I'm tired, I'm ready.
What a beautiful story. What a beautiful family. Thank you for taking the time to sit with us. I know a lot of people know who you are, especially on this network, but I hope we've given you just a glimpse inside today what creative legacy looks like, what spiritual legacy looks like. Consider that for your own family, would you? And again, go to ctnonline.com. Give to that orphanage. You cannot do any better work on earth than to take care of the orphans and widows. Thanks for joining us, Yolanda. Another great episode of The THREE. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.